Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lucian and I'm a Part 107 drone pilot and filmmaker based in the SF Bay Area. In today's video, I want to talk about 5 main reasons why I strongly believe being a professional drone pilot in 2025 is not as easy as it seems. Alright, so starting off with number 1 on the list of why I strongly believe being a professional drone pilot in 2025 is not as easy as it seems is the fact that you have to combine cinematography and drone piloting into one to be a professional drone pilot and aerial cinematographer. And that's actually not as easy as it seems, because not only do you have to have the technical skills of building, flying, repairing, and just managing all these different drone systems, on top of that, you have to have the eye, the mind, the skills, the creativity of a filmmaker. For example, when I'm on these jobs, it can be kind of stressful because not only do you have to manage the drone itself, put in the batteries, check all your systems, make sure everything's all good to go, and make sure everything is in working condition, you also have to plan out these shots. You have to check camera settings. You have to ensure the camera is in working order. You have to communicate with the client to see what kind of footage they want. Do they want 4K? Do they want vertical, horizontal? Do they want 60 frames? Do they want to shoot in log footage or normal? And yeah, exactly what kind of shots are they looking for? Are they looking for more close-up shots? Are they looking for more wide shots? Do they want a lot of orbits or more slow and steady stuff? Like, there's so many things to think about when you're doing this, because when you think about it, being a filmmaker or videographer, that's its own set of skills that requires so many hours of experience and so much research and passion in itself. Because when you think about it, like, sure, you could be the best drone pilot in the world and you could just fly around and stuff and do awesome things, but if you don't have the mind of a cinematographer and a filmmaker, you're not going to be able to deliver great results. That's what makes a great drone pilot. You have to combine the mind of a cinematographer with the technical skills and artistic ability of flying as well. And that's also a reason why I love it so much, because I am a traditional filmmaker as well. I love shooting on the gimbal. I love doing handheld stuff. I love shooting with the camera handheld, but I also love flying drones as well. And being a drone pilot is a perfect combination of those, because I'm able to combine my creative abilities of being a cinematographer by choosing exposure and really playing around and experimenting with cameras. And I'm able to combine that with my really strong technical knowledge of drones and building and FPV. So it really isn't as easy as it seems, but that's why I love the hobby, because if this was easy, I would get bored of it. And I'm the type of person where I really love to be challenged. I love to learn new things. I love to always be working on stuff. So that's why I love aerial cinematography. That's why I love FPV, because it allows me so much freedom to really get in the nitty-gritty details of these drones and try to learn as much as possible. So yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for reason number 1. Okay, so moving on to reason number 2, why I strongly believe being a professional drone pilot in 2025 is not easy, is the fact that you have to be the type of person that can manage stress well under pressure. And yesterday was actually a perfect example of this. Just yesterday was my first FPV job of the year, which is really fun. I got hired to do a little fly through with my little Cinewhoop here, the little 2.5 inch with the GoPro. And I was hired to do a little fly through of this kind of wedding banquet hall. And it was really fun because I've been practicing a lot lately. And in the winter months, I think it's really important to always stay sharp on your skills. And yeah, I thought it would be easy because I'm just doing this little fly through. I didn't really expect anyone to be there. But when you're on set and doing these kind of filming things, especially with drone stuff and FPV, you really never know what you're gonna expect and what's gonna happen. Like, no matter how much you plan, no matter how much you communicate with the client, stuff always arises that you might not expect. And maybe with like regular filmmaking, like on a gimbal and handheld, it's easier to manage those things. But once you introduce drones and flying, it takes it to that next level of complication and sophistication. There's just so many different factors to consider. And what I mean by this is my job was to just do a simple fly through of this little banquet hall because they're doing some construction later. So they want to do like a before shot, a during the construction, and then after. So I just told the client, like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get there early. I'm gonna get there before people are there. Just do a quick little fly through. In my head, I just assumed, okay, yeah, I'll just take probably 20 minutes and I'll be out of there. But as you know, with filmmaking, stuff always comes up. Like when I got there, there's a ton of people setting up for this event in the evening, and it really sucks when there's so many people in the shot. So I had to sit there, wait for a few hours for them to finish decorating the place. And then once I was doing the shots itself, like there's so many people working in this building, and it took a lot of different tries because some of the times I was flying, once we cleared up the whole place, I messed up. Like I wasn't really feeling my line, and I had to go through this really small doorway. So, I mean, it wasn't that easy. And then another few times people would get into the shot, customers would come in. So there's so many different pressure environments. And on top of that, this wedding was starting at 3 o'clock and it was like 2 o'clock something. So at a certain point, I was realizing like, holy crap, like this is probably like my only chance I could get at this. And you have to be able to stay calm under pressure, because if I don't have all these hours under my belt and if I'm a beginner, I'm gonna crack under that pressure, because I know like, holy crap, my heart's gonna be beating so fast and I might fall under that pressure knowing that if I don't make this final run and get a good shot in, like I'm gonna let the client down and I'm gonna fail. But since I have so many hours of experience just flying, building, and just managing these drones, I was able to stay calm, just stay calm and collected, and just be confident in my abilities and know that I could get the shot. And I'm also the type of person where I'm very thorough. Like even though I got maybe 1 or 2 good tries doing the fly through, like I wanted to keep getting as much as I can just to ensure the client is happy, because as I mentioned earlier, like sometimes you only have one shot at this. And take this to the next level. Like imagine I'm on a movie set doing a really expensive commercial and there's all these different people there, like talent, crew, and just all these extras. Like oftentimes as an FPV pilot, you only have like 1 or 2 chances max to get the shot. Like people aren't going to give you all day a few hours to get these shots. I mean, you're on everyone's clock, time is ticking, people are getting paid, time is running out. So that's why it's so important to be able to manage yourself under stress, because you have to be able to get the shot quick, because our job is very specialty, like our job isn't to just usually just be there and just recording for hours and hours. Like they're hiring you for very specific things in mind, and you have to be very precise in how you get that and make sure you deliver really quality results. So for that reason, you have to perform very well under pressure, which is definitely not easy. Like you can't just teach someone to say like, oh yeah, perform well under pressure. Like it's something that you develop over years, and it takes a lot of discipline and a lot of time and a lot of effort to develop that skill and mindset of staying calm. Like even me yesterday, like I was getting pretty stressed. Like even though it's just a simple fly-through job that I thought was gonna take 20 minutes, I was there for 3 hours, just kind of practicing my lines when people were setting up, getting ready, kind of getting to the right mindset. And then once everything was clear, I just had to go and manage everything. And also experience really helps with that, because with FPV, the batteries don't last very long at all. Like, especially when you put the GoPro on there, like I'm only getting like 3 minutes and I don't have that many batteries. So for example, my experience taught me that even though I had like 3 or 4 batteries left, something in my head just told me like, you know what, I should just go charge some batteries right now, just in case, like who knows, I might need more. Like I mentioned, I thought I would do the whole fly through in like 1 battery and be done. But I was really happy that when I was doing the fly throughs, when it was my time, I had some batteries on charge. So I had extra opportunities to deliver that result. And that's so important. And whether it's charging extra batteries on set or just buying more batteries, that is what you're being paid for. And that's why it takes so many years of experience to be professional and a proper, good quality drone pilot. So I think that wraps it up for reason number 2. All right, so moving on to reason number 3, why I strongly believe being a drone pilot is not as easy as it seems, is the fact that if you want to be successful in this field, you have to be able to manage, build, and repair a lot of different drone types. As I mentioned earlier, like sure, you could just be a drone pilot and just fly a DJI Mavic. And sure, if you get good results from that, that's great. I mean, I love the Mavic series. I use them all the time for like real estate work and just kind of like simple jobs. And I've done actually some really fun jobs with the Mavic. I mean, I did some really cool construction jobs. I mean, you can get amazing shots with that thing. But if you want to be successful in this industry, you have to be able to adapt and fly a ton of different types of drones. Because for example, if someone wants to hire you to do an FPV fly through inside over people, you can't fly a Mavic. I mean, you need to have something like this. I mean, you don't need to have this exact one. This is just a 2.5-inch GEP-RC Cinelog 25, but you really need to be able to understand the different types of drones and their purposes. For example, this drone is perfect for flying around people and flying inside. I mean, it's quieter, it has prop guards, it's safer, it's lighter, it's really small, so it's easy to fly around gaps and it's not that scary. But if someone also hired me to do a shoot in a really vast landscape or maybe doing some car chasing, I probably want to use something like this. This is a Gepard C 7-inch drone long range. I bought this as a bind and fly and I really like this drone. I mean, I don't actually use it for work that much, but this is my main drone to fly for fun. Like whenever I go out to like a really awesome sunset spot at the beach, doing mountain diving, this is my number one drone. I mean, I brought this thing to the Philippines and I got absolutely amazing shots. And let's say you have another client that wants really high quality shots of a car commercial and they want you to fly a Red Komodo or Sony FX6, then you need to have a drone like this. This is a Shen Drones Thick, an X8 drone, and you can mount on a proper cinema camera on this thing. And on top of this, I have a DJI Inspire 3 over there. I have a DJI Air 3. I mean, I have a ton of different drones. And it's just so important to be able to manage all of them and have knowledge of what each drone is for. I mean, in the end, they're not toys, they're tools. Each of these drones has a specific purpose to get the job done. And that's another reason why I love it so much, because I never get bored. I mean, sometimes I fly this thing around doing really cool proximity stuff. Then I get bored of that. Then I go to a really awesome sunset spot and I fly the 7-inch and get really fast, swooping, low, really cool dynamic shots of the landscape using the 7-inch. I mean, that's why this hobby is so cool, because you're just able to really explore all the different drones. But it's definitely not easy because all these different drones have their own intricacies. For example, when you're trying to work and take apart and repair a really small drone, the little solder joints can be really small. So you have to have skills at soldering really small joints. And on top of that, you might have to repair something like this, which has different systems. This thing has 2 different ESCs, it has 8 motors. I mean, in the end, all these FPV drones kind of work the same way. That's why I like it. Like, it's easy to understand, but there's so many different intricacies of each drone and they all have different needs, different parts, different screws, different batteries. So it's really kind of a lot to manage all of that stuff. And on top of that, there's just so much gear to manage. Like sometimes when I go to these spots, I have a backpack full of FPV batteries. I have my goggles, I have my controller, I have my GoPros, I have my SD cards, I have my tools in case anything goes wrong. I mean, there's just so much gear to manage being a drone pilot, and it's definitely not easy. Like sometimes when I want to fly my Inspire 3 out and getting shots, like sometimes I'm not really in the mood because like lugging around like a huge suitcase to like a sunset spot is like, it's not easy, you know, like it definitely takes a lot of effort to do these kind of things, but I definitely think it's worth it. And that's why I love FPV, because they all come in different sizes. So I think that's gonna wrap it up for reason number 3. All right, so moving on to reason number 4, why I strongly believe being a drone pilot is not as easy as it seems, is the fact that it requires so much travel time. I mean, like sure, you don't have to travel to fly drones. I mean, I could be like Joshua Bardwell and just fly around my big yard for all my videos, but I'm the type of person where I love to explore, I love to push myself to new boundaries, and I love to just get different kinds of shots, especially with drones, because with drone filmmaking, it's not always easy to find a subject. Like sure, I would love to chase awesome drifting cars. I would love to be filming motorcycles doing flips and mountain bikers, but let's be honest, like I'm not that popular. I don't have all these cool friends, you know, like 99% of the time, it's like, where do I want to fly today? Okay, I want to fly a really nice sunset shot over in San Francisco by the beach, or I want to fly in the forest somewhere, or I want to go to the Vallejo River. I mean, there's just so many different options, but it's really easy to get kind of stuck in a loop with drone filmmaking because let's be honest, like for my day job, I do a lot of real estate. I'm already driving so much. So sometimes when I want to fly for fun, I'm not really in the mood to drive super far to fly and get shots and make a video. And that's why it's really not easy, because I don't know, depending on where you live, like it's a lot of effort to drive out to all these different spots, to lug all your gear, to hike and get these shots. But it's definitely worth it for me. So I'm trying to make more of an effort to kind of go to more of these shots, scout out new locations, fly more, but it's definitely challenging and not easy carrying all that gear and just planning out all these different shoots. Definitely not easy. All right, moving on to the last and final 5th reason of why I strongly believe being a drone pilot is not easy is the fact of all the kind of technical things like the license, insurance, regulations, airspace, all that stuff. is kind of a lot to handle sometimes. Like, sure, most of the drone shoots I do are pretty simple. I mean, people just hit me up, ask me for a drone shot, and I organize it and we plan a date and I show up and get the drone shots. But it's not always that easy, because sometimes when you work with higher level productions and the more serious and more legit you get as a pilot, you're going to encounter people in production companies and producers that are going to ask you for a lot of stuff. They're going to want to see your Part 107. They want to see if you have insurance. They want to see if you have a permit for the area you're flying in and how to get that. I mean, I don't have that much experience with getting permits, but I do have my Part 107. I have gotten insurance before through Skywatch, and I do spend a lot of time kind of checking airspaces because I fly a ton of real estate, and I do fly a lot of DJI drones. And a lot of the times, if you're kind of close to an airport, you have to unlock that zone. It's going to be a blue zone, maybe red. You have to deal with LANS, which stands for low altitude something clearance, and it's kind of like an automatic clearance system that you could use through the app, which is really easy. But yeah, it's just a lot to manage as a drone pilot. Like, people just assume like you could just buy a drone from Best Buy, start flying it, and get paid for it, which you technically can, but that's actually illegal. So it's just a lot to manage all the paperwork, getting the Part to 107. I mean, that's not that hard. I just did it once. I took it twice actually, failed the first time, missed it by one question, passed the second time. But once you pass it, it's like a driver's license. You don't really need to do it again. I mean, you're good basically. Yeah, but I've only had one client really ask me for insurance, and that was actually pretty easy. I just get it through Skywatch. It's really easy. You just pay like $60, type in your information, type in their information, and you can get insurance for like 30 days. It's pretty affordable actually. But yeah, it's not that hard, but it's just a lot to manage. And on top of that, you have to take a lot of liability as a drone pilot. I mean, imagine if you're flying one of these big drones and you hit someone, even the little drones can cause damage. I mean, if you're flying over a concert and one of those little drones gets caught in someone's hair and like pulls her hair out in the propellers, I mean, who's responsible for that? Like, there's so many things to consider, and there's so much liability. And on top of that, there's Karens and Chads, whatever you want to call it. I hate them. Like, it's so annoying. Like, a lot of the time I'm just flying real estate. There's always going to be someone that comes up to you and thinking you're spying on them, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, there's clearly a house for sale and I'm getting shots for them. But people are just kind of really scared of drones nowadays. Maybe it's because of the war, all these different privacy issues, but yeah, as you can see, like, there's a lot to consider when you're a professional drone pilot. But I'm definitely happy I'm in this field. I really enjoy it. It makes me feel really passionate about filmmaking, but I'm gonna continue doing it and get as best as I can, and I'm gonna keep you guys updated along that journey. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Please hit that like button, hit subscribe, it really helps out the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.